Yo, what's up, guys? If you've been following the journey, then you know we're building a cabin up in Little Alaska right after a forest fire. Y'all asked what life was like before the fire, so let's dive right in. This is our school bus. We used to live in this thing for over a year before the fire took it from us. Now, I just use it to have fun. In this video, we're going to talk about how we got here, where we got the school bus, and everything that happened once we got up to the cabin spot.
Taking the fast way down today, guys.
Right now, me and Will Survives are building cabins up here, and this clip is from 2 weeks ago on the day that my truck broke down. I haven't been able to come back since this day, so filming new footage is not an option. Instead, I'm going to take you guys back 5 years to the first time that we got to Little Alaska. Let's start things off in 2023. Coming up to the cabin spot was actually pretty depressing because the wildfire had just taken our school bus. I was a huge fan of Will Survives at the time, and he had just gotten busted at his last cabin spot. We actually connected on TikTok Live by complete accident. I offered him a spot to build here, and Will did not hesitate. He was here at the property in less than 2 weeks. Now let's rewind exactly 3 years. Me and my wife had just survived an entire winter living in the school bus. We made a couple investments, and this short bus was one of them. Life up here was perfect. We had actually just started our first cabin attempt well before the forest fire. But how did we get up here? And where did the school bus come from? All of that can be answered 2 years ago, back in College Station, Texas. This is Beaver Creek, a small subdivision right outside College Station. My wife and I bought a couple acres right on this lake, and it was some of the best years we ever had. Our dogs loved it too, and so did the rest of our animals. We had pretty much been caravanning an entire zoo across the Midwest for the past 5 or 6 years now. We always dreamed of starting a homestead and living off-grid, but never really had a piece of land to invest into, until now. This place couldn't be any better, and it was right by Texas A&M, so I can go back to school and get my degree. The first thing we did once we got settled was dig this pond. It was a real pain to bring water from the lake, so we tried to capture as much rain as we could. We used this water for the garden and also the orchard. I think we had like 12 fruit trees at this time, and a few were actually producing. I wasn't kidding when I said we had a zoo, guys. We had about 50 chickens, ducks, rabbits, like 10 dogs, a whole bunch of cats, cockatiels. We had a parrot, and I think we had like 8 or 9 fish tanks going at one time. It was insane. So much going on. Pretty much a full-time job just to manage all the animals. I don't know why we chose this lifestyle, but when we see our little dinosaurs running around without a care in the world, it just makes sense. And here's the orchard. 12 different fruit trees that we had to keep alive without running water. We lived off-grid in this tiny little pop-up camper, but had dreams of building this giant 2-story house right on this property. But it turns out, we weren't the only ones trying to claim this land. I had rattlesnakes going after my chickens and my wife. And not just any rattlesnakes, Texas-sized rattlesnakes that wouldn't go down even after a beating with the shovel. This video still gives me the creeps, and this snake was one of many. I honestly wasn't even afraid of the rattlers, because at least they warn you before they bite. The scary snakes were the water moccasins. They were all over the place, and we were right on the lake. This snake was well over 5 feet. It was actually bigger than that shovel. My dog Ryder back there wouldn't come near the snake, and she's not afraid of anything, guys. It even had dual fangs, which was honestly pretty cool to see up close. Right after my battle with this snake, we got this crazy hailstorm. I'm not sure if it meant anything, and I still haven't figured it out to this day. I still don't know how these chicks survive rattlesnakes and golf ball sized hail. I'll tell you how we survive though. One rule: eat or get eaten. I'm not one to brag, but we love to cook and we're a little more than basic. Check out this rattlesnake ramen. After about a year of living in the pop-up camper, we got electricity and it was time to build a house. But before I do, gotta catch us some dinner. I used to stay up all night drawing sketches and blueprints of the house. Or at least trying to, when this little kitty wasn't attacking me. It was finally time to build, so I called in the pros. And yes, that includes you too, Ryder. My grandpa's the actual pro though, guys. I couldn't have built this house without him. With his help, this house went up way quicker than I expected. And I'm talking like really quick. Like a 2-story house up in less than a month quick. It was just me, my wife, and my grandpa. And we somehow built this 24-foot tall 2-story mansion. While we were out here, my wife got a job as a mad scientist at some biotech company. And I was going to school at Texas A&M. I volunteered at the local fire department, and I got a job as an electrician. I was even en route to get my master's certification. We absolutely love Texas, but we miss the snow, and we wanted to move back to New Mexico. So how do you think we move an entire zoo 18 hours away? In a school bus, of course. We loaded up everyone and everything, including all of our trees and all of our animals. We actually left behind a ton of valuables, just to make room for the critters. The drive took almost 20 hours and 2 days to complete, but it was so worth it. It was the first time seeing the mountain, and I'm so glad we got up here before winter, because it gave us just enough time to prepare. As soon as we got here, the dogs disappeared for like 3 hours. We put up this fencing while they were gone, and trapped them as soon as we could, because we weren't sure what was out there. This mountain is beautiful, majestic, and wild as could be. We handled the Texas heat just fine, but we were not ready for a winter out here in Little Alaska. Winter was on its way, so we didn't waste any time. We got a truck and a water tank right away, because there's no running water here at the property. The dogs seem to like it up here, and I know they love the snow, so that's not a problem. The cats, on the other hand, hate the snow, but they love the mountain too, and they made their homes pretty quickly. They're honestly just like mountain lions. They found homes in caves and dens across the property. We made this nice pen for the rabbits. These cute little guys are really high on the predator list out here, so we needed to make sure they were nice and safe. I think the cats actually accepted the rabbits into their pride, because they'd constantly hang out right outside the rabbit pen. They'd even lay down and cuddle right up next to the rabbits. Now that the animals are taken care of, it was time to start preparing for winter. We're at about 8,000 feet in elevation, and it gets crazy cold up here. I'm talking like minus 20 degrees cold. It was late September, and we only had about a month to prepare the bus, because the snow starts flying right around Halloween. Inside the school bus, we had our parrot, our fruit trees, and our little puppers that we needed to keep warm at all times. This property was completely off-grid, which means no electricity, no cell service, or no water. The bus was actually pretty spacious, and we had everything we needed. You see this cool painting? Well, Wifey had actually painted this years ago, and it turned out to be the exact view right outside the bus window. Getting up to the bus spot was real tricky, even in a 4x4 truck. I spent the entire first week digging and leveling out the road. I must have moved like 20 truckloads of dirt, which I took down to the bottom of the road to fill in some low spots. Then I moved like 20 truckloads of dead standing timber up to the bus spot. We made a trip up to Taos one day to grab the 600-gallon water tank. The dude used a tractor to put it in the truck. I dropped it at the top of the hill, and it was producing like 40 psi of water pressure. We ran 150 feet of 3/4-inch PEX pipe all the way down to the bus. And we filled the 600-gallon water tank with this smaller 300-gallon water tank. We could only haul about 100 gallons of water at a time in the truck, so filling this tank was impossible. For all your Ryobi haters, I've been rocking the same tools for like 6 years now, and they've held up really well, even up here. I even used them to build a greenhouse at the back of the bus. And the craziest thing is, we brought all this lumber with us from Texas. This greenhouse was going to serve as our kitchen, our restroom, and our shower. And I got this thing built literally just in time. The snow was finally here, and the dogs were loving it. It was an entirely new world up here in the wintertime. Wifey needed a new car, so I got her this Jeep that was hopefully going to get her through the snow. We soon found out that it didn't matter what you were driving. If there's 5 feet of snow outside, you're gonna get stuck. And stuck we got, at least 3 times a week. Wifey got a job at the university, so she had to commute 2 hours every single day. Not me though. I stayed up at the mountain and took care of all the animals. This was us on Thanksgiving, frying up a turkey. And here's the littles begging us to install this wood stove. Everyone said to run this pipe out the ceiling, but I did not want to cut a hole in the roof, so I just popped it out the window. The cool thing about this was the window was already broken, so I didn't have to worry about anything. I still can't believe we were pushing 30 psi out of this 150-foot water hose. I eventually buried the PEX pipe and ended up making some snowboarding trails and a flight of stairs going up to the water tank. We planned to build a garden right on the side of this hill, but when the fire rolled through, it burned everything. It's crazy to think that this entire mountain was covered in a foot of snow just a week ago. And by next week, it's probably going to be covered again, and it's going to stay for the entire winter. The first lesson I learned while living up here in the school bus is that you can never have enough firewood. The second thing I learned is no matter how hard you try, everything is going to freeze or get covered in snow. I thought I was pretty slick getting this extra thick 600-gallon water tank, but it did not stop the water from freezing. Here's the last picture of the bus before the real snow hit. We absolutely love snowboarding, and so do the dogs. Once the snow hit, there really wasn't much else to do all day but hang out with the dogs and snowboard down the mountain. Now, living out here was not all fun and games. The cold sucks, guys, and this video is the perfect example of that. Waking up at 6 a.m. to go to work is hard enough. Now, doing this when it's minus 10 outside and your truck is stuck in the snow just makes it that much more miserable. Here's a look inside the kitchen, which was also our restroom, which was also our shower, which was also our storage area. I ran out of clear panels, so I wasn't able to close it in completely. So taking a shower in here was miserable. But look at that view though. You can't beat it. Oh yeah, when we bought the bus, it used to be a mobile gymnastics gym. It was called the Tumble Bus, and it was pretty much a mobile daycare with gymnastics equipment inside. Now it's the Lucky Bus, and this thing was supposed to travel across the country. Little did we know, Mother Nature had other plans for this bus. That puny Ford Ranger was not cutting it in the snow. So I got a real truck, a Toyota pickup. This is how we pretty much lived our days. We'd wake up every morning and make something delicious and New Mexican, like chicharrones and green chili. Then I'd spend the next 10 hours stuffing my face, enjoying the view, and appreciating life. Before we knew it, winter was over. We started making a few investments and bought a couple properties in town, and we even bought this minibus so we can start traveling. I still can't believe we survived the winter in that school bus, especially on the nights when we wake up to 5 feet of snow outside and negative degrees. Wifey and I had big plans for the springtime. The actual reason we bought this little school bus was because we needed a 1-ton vehicle to tow a big heavy horse trailer, and the Toyota was not going to cut it. One of our investment properties was a little ranch out in Anton Chico. This place was perfect to raise 2 horses, and that's exactly what we did. I'd like to introduce you guys to Blizzard and Storm, 2 wild horses that we adopted from the BLM. I spent every single day out here bonding with these horses so that I can train them. And for anyone who doesn't know a thing about horses, breaking a wild one is not easy. These guys are insanely powerful, extremely hard-headed, but so incredibly smart. The way to Blizzard's heart was through his stomach, so I found the best treats I could find and started training him right away. While I was working with Blizzard, Wifey was training Storm. It took me months to get to this point, but once he trusted me enough to get the halter on, we were inseparable. It didn't matter if I was riding bareback or saddle. He listened well and was learning so fast. Beluga loved it out here too. We'd actually leave him so we can watch the horses. Here's the last picture of the short bus before we sold it and bought Clifford. We had so much fun this summer and even spent a lot of time at the golf course. My grandpa would often visit, and every time he did, we'd go up to Pandarei. I'd even go golfing at the World College. It's this old, beautiful castle-looking building right near Las Vegas. The hot baths are up here too, and after a long day up at the mountain, there's nothing like a nice hot soak. One day, we sold the house out in Anton Chico, which means we had to move the horses up to the mountain. We had been wanting to do this since the day we got him, but Blizzard is a little Houdini, so we were afraid he was going to get out. Well, they did get out, all the time, but they never left because they were such sweet horses. It was actually a blessing that they were up here free-ranging, because when the fires hit, they were able to escape without harm. I had spent the last few months putting up over 4,000 feet of fencing. This was one of those things I wish I had never done, because it cost me so much time and money, and it never really accomplished anything. The land looks so much better without a fence too. I may come back one day and rip out all these T-posts. I wish I had known the horses were going to get out so fast, because I had wasted all this time and effort trying to contain them in this meadow. I also wish I knew they were going to be impossible to catch again. Once I brought them up here, they just turned right back into wild horses. I'm not mad at it though, and I don't think the horses are either. I know I wouldn't want somebody sitting on my back and yelling at me every day. Man, I had this horse trained so well. He was literally bulletproof, guys. Nothing would spook him. Storm, on the other hand, was a tough nut to crack. She was over 10 years old, and I never got to ride her. Just when things were at their best, and we had finally achieved our dream of having wild horses, this happened.
Good afternoon. How did a prescribed burn turn into the biggest wildfire in New Mexico history? Today, we're getting some answers with the release of the report into the Hermit's Peak fire. It shows both crews on the ground that day did follow procedures and policies. There were a lot of missteps leading up to it.
Just wanted to give you guys a little peek at our mountain. We lived up on this property for like just over a year. We lived in the school bus right here before the wildfire took it. But beautiful piece of land. Best experience we ever had. I'm gonna have a little fun today. Hit some range balls at the driving range. Got my iRange Sports here. My HXR hitting mat. My RBZ clubs. Let's have some fun.
Come on, Gwen. Come on. Ziggy. Come on. Good boy.
start going down the mountains and stuff, you're gonna need to turn. You say they're heavy? Did he fall?
Going down the hill.
Damn, first shot. Got the bottle. Hey, one more. We got 2 shots each.
Which one? Huh?
Whatever you want.
Down, you missed. Can't even see where it's being shot.
I want you a little lower, aim lower, and then.
Oh.
Hey.
Blast it.
Ready?
Understand nothing no more if I jump, let me. If I jump, let me.
Coming up to the school bus and seeing all these burnt trees was real depressing. We started coming up less and less, but each time we did, I tried to do something fun to lighten the mood. Today, my only mission was to do some snowboarding and hit a few golf balls off the top of the bus. I don't know why, but I just really wanted to do it. Yo, what's up, guys? I'm out here at my mountain. About to play some golf. Got a Callaway. Got my lag shot wedge. My burnt up school bus. Let's hit one for old time's sake. Oh shit. Oh no. Well, that pretty much brings us to the end of this video. You guys know the rest of the story. I hit Will up on TikTok, he came out 2 weeks later, and the rest was history. I thought the forest fire was going to be the end of our story up here at the mountain, but it was just the beginning. The fire was actually a blessing in disguise. I was never going to cut any live trees up here, but now that they're burnt and dead, I can use them to build a cabin. This mountain has been such a blessing to us, and I'm so glad that it was able to do the same thing for Will. Right now, we're having the time of our lives, building some cabins and living the dream. Oh, no way!